The Republic has been failing us, and the time is now. Today, in the 5th and final installment of the Getting Started with Star Wars Legion series, we're rolling out the droids and fighting for our independence.
For the rebellion! For Alderaan!
Incoming! I'm hit! Stormtrooper! Watch those blasters! Imperial officer, take him out! Sniper, get down! Defeat is unacceptable. Lord Vader will not be pleased. Kenobi, take him down! Get down! Battle droid, knock him down! Grenade! Grenade! We've got droidicas. Take out that destroyer droid. Watch those wrist rockets!
That's another one. Dead or alive, I get paid either way.
The Confederacy is in control of the command post. Incoming explosive! Take cover!
Darth Vader! Watch that lightsaber!
Hello everyone, thanks for joining me again today for a discussion about the CIS, or the Separatist Alliance. So, quite an interesting faction because you can really go two major ways with it. This faction is comprised of a whole bunch of cheap, disposable droid units and some really big heroes. So on the one hand, you can just kind of flood the field with these individually weak but collectively large or collectively strong units like your B1 droids. And then you can have Darth Maul or Cad Bane or General Grievous flying around the table just destroying people. So you can end up with this, massive army of droids with the 3 key points and just kind of moving that droid line across the table and shooting people as you go. And again, because you can customize your list the way you want it, it can be rather versatile, and with cheap units, they can fill in slots pretty well. So you can really do a lot in your list building with this team. So as always, I recommend that we start with the core set. Aside from getting us our normal stuff, you're going to get General Grievous himself. Now, General Grievous is a core set exclusive, and General Grievous is no joke. So if you look at his card, he has the Arsenal 2 keyword, which means that he can attack with 2 weapons. If you look at the very bottom there, you're looking that he's swinging in melee with both of his lightsabers. He also does come with his Annihilator gun, which you can do as an add-on, so he doesn't have to just get in melee, he can still shoot across the table. But the coolest thing he does is he has the Relentless keyword, which means that after he moves into base contact with somebody, he can chop them, right? So instead of taking your normal 2 actions, which would be like move attack for someone else, Grievous can move, and then if he's in contact, he gets that free melee. He's very, very strong when used intelligently on the battlefield. We also get a squad of droidecas, or the roller droids. These guys also pack a serious punch. There are 2 of them, and they have a cool thing where they have shields. They can actually take hits on their shields instead of taking the hits to the units themselves. And of course, we follow up the rest of the army with 2 squads of basic B1 battle droids. These guys are cheap, disposable, they shoot white so they don't hit well, and they roll white so they don't defend well, but man, there are a lot of them in that squad, and you can fill up the table pretty quick. So after the core set, you definitely want to pick up at least 1 operative, and right now we have Cad Bane and Darth Maul, and heck, you know what? You might want to consider getting both. So Cad Bane is super fun to use. He has that keyword there, steady, which means that after he moves, he can take a free ranged attack, so it's kind of the opposite of General Grievous, if you will. But what this means is that he can move, get a free shot in, and then move again. So you could have him behind like a box or behind covered where nobody could see him. He can pop out, shoot, and pop back in cover so he can't be shot back at. He's very fun to use. He has a lot of creative things on the table. And then of course we have one of my favorite guys of all time, Darth Maul. This guy is no joke. He's rolling a whole bunch of dice, and he also has a cool thing where if he takes damage, he actually gets pissed off over the course of battle and becomes more effective and can start getting more actions. He also comes with his probe droids in his box, which actually adds a very cheap, in fact, probably the cheapest special operations unit you have across the game. So each one of these guys is a very cool addition to your army, and you know what? For a larger army, you might even want to run both. The third CIS purchase I recommend are definitely the B2 battle droids. Major improvement upon the B1 little counterpart. These guys have a much smaller squad, but man, do they pack a punch. I remember I was running one game with my wife where my bark speeder came ripping around a corner. Her B2 battle droids eliminated that bark speeder in 1 action. Just 1 shot, just gone poof off the table at the end of round 1. I was a very, very sad person. And while these guys only still roll the white defense dice, you will notice they have the Armor 1 keyword, which allows them to just automatically cancel a hit result. So before we move on, I want to do a quick note on kind of the swarm tactics of the CIS. So you notice the B1 battle droids, you get a lot of minis for them, and you know what, they're a pretty good unit because you can trick them out with some of the upgrades. However, I do want to note that at an MSRP of $25, they only bring about 36 to 62 points to your table, which means that it is going to cost you a little more on the CIS to build out these battle droid units. Not to mention the fact that they are a little challenging to assemble, and there's a lot of them in that box, so it'll take you a fair amount of time. On the flip side, the AAT battle tank you may look at and say $60 for one unit, that's crazy. However, it brings 170 plus points to the table. So actually, if you compare it versus getting a bunch of squads of the B1s or the B2s, it's actually cost effective versus getting those multiple droid units. And that's why my recommended number 4 purchase is the AAT Trade Federation Battle Tank. This guy is of course the beast. He's doing everything you would expect a tank to do. He can shoot multiple weapons, he can just kind of hover around the board. Now I do want to note out this guy's on an exceedingly large base, and if you are a skirmish player, maybe you don't want to get this because quite frankly, most of the skirmish tables I've seen, it gets kind of hard to actually move this guy, and he just kind of ends up sitting in the same spot and shooting at people. Now don't underestimate the strength at which he shoots. However, you know, if you want to try and move around, maybe this is not the best thing to start off with on skirmish, but you can look at it as a purchase down the line. So let's go ahead and look at a skirmish list for these guys. We have General Grievous, of course, running strict orders, and of course with his pistol, so he can do something if he's not in base contact. We're running Cad Bane because that pop and shoot peekaboo mechanic is super awesome. He's running situational awareness. We have 2 squads of B1s, one of which is running a heavy weapon, that one there with the 3 black dice, which is a very, very good heavy weapon. We're also running 1 squad of B2s, tricked out as well with its good heavy weapon, as well as an extra man for each one of the basic core squads. This list comparatively is quite cheap. We have 99 for the core set, 15 for Cad Bane, and then 35 for the extra squad of B2s, coming to a total of 149, or 134 with the Commando 10 discount. Now because running all the big heroes of the Separatists can be very, very fun, I wanted to go ahead and look at an 800 point standard list using both Maul and Cad Bane as well as those probe droids. So we're still running Grievous the same as before, except this time we're running him with aggressive tactics because we have a little more points to play with. Running Cad Bane just as before. And now we're adding Maul, tricked out with offensive stance and force push so he can do a bunch of damage to people. He's packing his probe droids there. We have the same 2 squads of B1s and we have the same squad of B2s, but we've also added in just a naked squad of droidekas just to add additional stuff in the field. Roll those guys in the middle, start shooting, and your guys can move around and start damaging those clones. The cost of this particular list only increases by $20 because all we have to do is just add Darth Maul. So that brings it to a total of 169 or 152 with the Commando 10 discount. So that concludes today's video about the CIS and its multi-tactics, and it also concludes this entire video series. It's been a pleasure here talking to you and telling you about why Legion is a great game. Remember, if you have any questions at all, please leave them in the comments below. Myself or the Gongaii guys will be right with you. Thanks very much for watching and staying with us. If nothing else, guys, see you on the table.